And you mentioned like, Notion has a lot of like credit programs for startups and sort of channel partners. And then you also do like, I think Notion's free for students, right? Like, can you talk
Yeah,
about this strategy? It seems like you're really trying to seed Notion early on with folks sort of early in their careers or company life cycle. Is that right?
absolutely. And that was actually one of the first big campaigns that I worked on was sort of the back to school window in 2019. And the logic there was we were seeing so much early traction among students, and they were also the loudest. Like, bar none, they were the most vocal across all of the social media channels about their experience, what they were doing with it. And even though I was given a lot of advice, and I think we all were, that students churn fairly easily and you may never realize revenue from them, uh, it's absolutely an audience that is worth it to invest in, especially if you are running any sort of creator tools, business or community. I think students are just like incredible advocates, um, and are incredibly active on your behalf. So that was sort of the idea there was if we just remove sort of the barrier to entry for them, they would create just so many beautiful examples of how the product worked. And then I think we have validated since that time that they do in fact enter the workforce and then pound the table and sort of demand to use the tools that they love. We've heard about a few sort of rogue movements inside of larger companies where people have said, "No, we really have to use Notion. We refuse to use Google Docs," and their IT departments end up bending to their will. So we're very thankful to the folks who went through that arc with us.
No, it makes so much sense, and it's such a good lesson in just like the long tail that's powering amazing software businesses like Notion, and that's what makes product-led growth so powerful too. Is like you have a group of people who can help spread your message and push your product out in the world. And it might not be where you make your money in the short term, but it's probably where you make your money over the long term and how you build like a generational company.
Yeah, I think it does go back to that ubiquity piece where it's just so important to think through how your company can appear to be everywhere at once. And with the startup program you mentioned, I think that there's now a significant, I don't know the exact percentage, but back at the time when we launched the program, something like 28% of all startups on Crunchbase that had raised over $1 million were using Notion to some degree. And I think the reason it feels so ubiquitous among startups is because we were able to identify these partnerships with incredible VC firms, with AWS, with Stripe, with folks who were really super connectors among this audience, uh, to offer Notion at a significant discount and get people going. And then seeing how it just like took root at a lot of places that have now since scaled massively.